Hey there! So today is another in my Emotionally Broken series, as you can probably tell. I've been trying to film an Emotionally Broken video for the past half an hour or so, and for whatever reason I just haven't been able to. I keep trying and it's not... the words are not coming. So I said on my personal Facebook, is there anything you'd like me to talk about? And one of my friends said something so blindingly obvious, like a real facepalm moment. Why don't you talk about the stigma or mental illness? Of course. Why haven't I? Some people will say that there isn't a stigma on mental illness anymore. I say bullshit. I've had mental illness since I was 11 years old. I have had almost every form of stigma attached to me to do with mental illness that you can have. I have been called lazy. I have been told to get over it. I have been told to just deal with it. I have had, why aren't you sad if you've got depression then? Why aren't you visibly nervous if you have anxiety? Oh, you have agoraphobia. Why aren't you at home then? All the time. Oh, you have an eating disorder. Why aren't you stick thin then? I could go on. People seem to think there's only one way you can be ill, and it's physical. No. We wouldn't function without a mind. Is it any wonder it gets broken sometimes? And yeah, it's so weird to everyone. I've had every stigma under the sun. I've had every stigma under the sun put on me. I haven't worked in 4 years, so the lazy one is a lovely one that I get all the time. I've seen other people go through hell because they have mental illness. I know people who have been verbally and physically abused because they are mentally ill. I know a lot of people who hide their mental illness because they're afraid of the reaction of others. A lot. Which is partially why I'm so open with mine. Because we should not be afraid, and we should not have to hide this. A lot of people have this stigma on mental illness. This is not something you talk about. I call bullshit. I want to change that. And I don't like the idea of, no, why can we talk about a broken leg? Why can we talk about cancer? Why can we talk about diabetes or epilepsy or asthma, but we can't talk about mental illness? I've not always been open with my mental illness. As a child I wasn't. As I was first going through it, I lied. I remember specifically with my mum, we recently just found out that I had mental illness, like school failure, etc. I was walking in a car park, or no, was it a car park or down something like that, down the street, something like that, with my mum. I was 12. And a family friend saw us, you know, normal chat. Why aren't you in school? Oh, I've got an inset day, was my automatic reply. Why is it automatic that we lie about mental illness instead of admitting the truth? Why is there a stigma in the first place? Why? For God's sake, we wouldn't function without this. We can't function without a mind. Why are we so ashamed if they don't work? If you have a cold, you're not ashamed. Why are we ashamed? Why are we made to feel ashamed? I'm getting on my soapbox a bit, but I don't care. I know so many people who have never told people that they suffer from mental illness, and they've had it 20, 30 plus years. I know teenagers who have gone to the doctors and been officially diagnosed, and their parents don't even know. I know so many people who hide being ill. Doesn't that sound silly? They hide being ill. If I remove the mental and just say ill, they hide being ill. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Why would you hide being ill? Doesn't matter, does it? If I say they hide being mentally ill, then you understand. Why? Why is that acceptable? Why is being mentally ill and hiding it acceptable? Why is it seen as needed? Why should we? I don't want the stigma around this anymore. Which is why I talk so openly about it. I am sat talking to my phone. Hold on. Sorry. Itch. I'm sat talking to my phone about mental illness. I have sat in tears talking to my phone about mental illness. I have put my most rawest emotional state on the internet in video form for anyone to watch. When I've uploaded those videos, I always wonder when I'll get a troll. When I'll get someone who will say something nasty. When will I get someone who has that mindset? I haven't got one yet. I'll get one eventually. I can see it coming. If you're one of those people who has that perception of mental illness, who sees it as someone being lazy, someone not trying hard enough, has a very narrow-minded view, do your research. Shameless plug, but watch my other emotionally broken videos. Tell me that's not real. Tell me I'm just being lazy, or I should try harder. Walk in our shoes. Just try it for an hour, maybe 2. Go down the shops. Get into someone's shoes with agoraphobia and go and get pint milk. Live the life of someone with depression and get out of bed. Be in the mind of someone with anxiety and go to a party. Live the life of someone with an eating disorder and have a meal. Live the life of someone with PTSD and be around loud noises. Mess us around and say trigger warning, trigger warning, triggered. And that was a joke. That's how it started, was a mental illness joke. Because triggers are real and they can really, really be difficult to deal with. Yeah, it turned into a joke. Oh, I'm so triggered right now. Really? You have no idea what triggered is. Do you know what triggered is? Triggered is not being able to walk into a secondary school that technically I left 8 years ago. Triggered is having a panic attack at the sound of a loud noise that reminds you of something. Triggered is not because your favourite couple split up. Or because someone mixed up the Ashbringer and the Doomhammer. I'll put my hands up. I used a trigger joke. I didn't know its origins. I didn't know what it was. I see people talk about the stigma of mental illness a lot. And that's a good thing. But what if we didn't have that in the first place? What if I could say to someone, if someone said to me, "How are you?" I didn't have to auto go, "Oh, I'm fine." No matter how unfine I was, because I haven't been fine in about 4 years. This is such an all over the place video. It's time to change. No more stigma. We don't need it. We never needed it. We don't need it now either. People should not feel like this. I should not feel like this. My friends should not feel like this. My family should not feel like this. Because the stigma travels farther than just the person who has a mental illness. There's a stigma on the parents of the person, of the partner of the person, on the family of the person, on the friends of the person. There's a stigma on anyone who tries to help you. There's a stigma following you like a black cloud. I am not lazy. I can't just get over it. I have mental illness. It's no different to anything else. I am not ashamed. mental illness is horrific. I would not wish it on my worst enemy. But at the same time, it's made me who I am. I would not be the same person I am today if it wasn't for mental illness. Not by a long shot. It's taught me who the real me is. It's difficult. If someone said, here, have this button, if you press it, everything bad that's ever happened in your life because of mental illness will go. So not everything bad, but just the things that happened because of mental illness. So I could carry on working and I wouldn't have left school. I wouldn't have let countless people down and I would have friends. I'd be happy, right? I wouldn't press it. I own my mental illness. My mental illness is mine. It may suck, it may be horrible, I may fight it all the time. It may have taken my life away. It made me who I am. It gave me a better understanding. It means I don't judge anyone. It means that when someone's upset, I understand. Do not put a stigma on something you don't understand. If you don't understand mental illness and you'd like to, have a Google, watch some videos, ask. I'm not here for the sake of it. This video's really been all over the place, hasn't it? I hope I've got my point across though. Stop the stigma. It's time to change this. No more. If you have mental illness, talk about it. Don't be afraid. Shout it from the rooftops. If you don't, what's your opinion on mental illness? Do you need to reassess that? If it's a negative opinion, I suggest you do. I hope I made some kind of sense. I hope it was informative. Because I think I better go now. So until next time, believe. Bye.